On August 22nd, the International Day for Commemorating the Victims of Acts of Violence based on religion or belief is observed to honor those who have suffered violence due to their faith. Established by the UN General Assembly in 2019, this day was created to address the rising violence and discrimination faced by people because of their religious beliefs. It underscores the critical need to protect religious minorities and ensure that everyone can practice their faith freely without fear. The day highlights global efforts to combat religiously motivated violence and promote tolerance. The Joint Initiative for Strategic Religious Action, JISRA, launched in May 2021 and funded by the Dutch Ministry of the Foreign Affairs, support this mission by advancing freedom of religion or belief, FOB, and fostering interfaith dialogue. JISRA operates in Iraq, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Kenya, Mali, Nigeria, and Uganda, and involves 50 civil society organizations, including international NGOs like TFON, Search for Common Ground, and Messine Mel and Messi. In Abuja, Nigeria, JISRA organized an event to commemorate victims and raise awareness about religious freedoms. The event aimed to educate citizens, emphasize respect for individual choices, and prioritize humanity over segregation. It called on governments, civil society, and individuals to take active steps to protect religious freedom and support those affected by religious-based violence.
When it's a day set aside by the United Nations to commemorate the victims of act of violence, on the basis of who were killed, not just killed, but probably lynched or injured in any way, just because of the kind of belief they carry with them or the religion they belong to. So today it's been set, aside to commemorate them, to remember them, but not just remember. I think the essence of it is to now talk amongst ourselves and see, one, what went wrong, and then what then can we do. So the discussion, if you've been following today, has been around why do people hate others on the basis of their on the basis of difference in belief. Why do people go as far as killing, maiming, destroying places of worship of others just because they do not belong? So what happens? What is wrong? And then, so if we now identify the problems, which we have been trying to do, then how then can we work together, collaboratively, as Christians, as Muslims, as Hindus here, because today you saw a Hindu, as African traditional religions, as even people who don't believe in God, but who have a shared, values, shared country, shared space. And so because we all live in this country called Nigeria, and it all belongs to all of us, and no one can deny the other of the right to exist and freely.
For the advocacy effort, what we have done, we have been able to work with both women and youths to carry out advocacy campaigns. We have been able to train media practitioners on conflict-sensitive reporting, especially when it has to do with religion, because religion can actually be used as a tool for a trigger for violence and also for peaceful coexistence or cohesion. So we have been able to work with the youth in various communities to sensitize them. We worked in elections to ensure safe elections. We are proud to say that in the communities where we worked in, there was no electoral violence. And Gideon Wire said because of our project that is happening in Jema local government today, the first violence-free election they had was because of the JISRA program that they started enjoying, which is part of the sensitization efforts that we've been working on for peaceful coexistence and cohesion among all different religion divides.
So this has been ongoing now. It's a 5-year full program. So it's about in the year 4 now. So what they've been doing, especially in Plateau State as well as in Kaduna State, actually working very locally with communities affected by, in one way or another, by religious conflict. They've been having dialogue discussions, engaging with young people, religious leaders, traditional leaders, bringing them together to actually make discussions around peace and security, how they can actually work together. So this has been an ongoing discussion for a long time. So this is actually just to come together as a whole, especially today that marks International Day of Freedom of Religion and Belief. and to actually just to recognize those that have been affected by, in one way or another, by violence regarding their faith. But a lot has been going on in the background around how we can actually work with state governments, national assemblies, state assemblies, religious leaders, as I mentioned, community leaders, young people, women groups. So a lot has been going on in the background to actually see how we can promote freedom of religion and belief here in Nigeria.
Freedom of religion is a very important aspect of what the society needs to promote, and especially the government institutions, there is a need to rethink about what curriculum or religious educations are, because in the educational system we have Islamic religious studies, we have Christian religious studies, but what needed to be done, we have gone beyond the era where we do this kind of separated kind of teachings, because what we end up doing is that we're teaching religious faiths, not religion. So institutions, religious institutions need to transcend from the basic teachings of Islamic religious teaching, Christian religious teaching, which brings about differences because we have different tastes, to the point of where we teach religious education in the institutions. Religious educations will make people to understand God and the relationship between God and the living entities. That is what is most important.
Well, for our intervention, we have done a lot of advocacies at the grassroots level. We have done a lot of trainings where we had working at the intra level and also at the inter level, then the extra religious pillar, to ensure that everybody is carried along in this message of freedom of religion or belief, and also to ensure that people are free wherever they are to practice their religion without any interference. And from what we have observed, or from the results we have gathered so far, a lot of communities are changing, a lot of acceptance for other people's religion, respect, dignity of life and sanctity of life. So a lot of things are coming up, and people are accepting each other's faith without any prejudice.
Today we are not only talking about tolerance, we are talking about understanding that people have rights. Because if I tolerate you, it means you don't have right. And so I'm only, no. Every human being naturally, according to our scriptures, has the right. To believe or not to believe is a decision that any individual can make. And so people should not be coerced, people should not be forced, people should not be molested, people should not be harassed, people should not be discriminated against. There should be no exclusion on the basis that you do not belong. So I think this is where we are saying. So it's not coming together to say, okay, we are all people of one faith. No. We are coming here to say, yes, we identify that we are people who believe in different faiths, yet I respect you as a human being, and I know you have the right to life, you have the right to property, to own property, you have the right to work everywhere in Nigeria and ascend to every level if you have the requirement and the capacity, and that your faith should not determine what you get in this country.